try and sort of micromanage all the different areas of the business, and I'd be trying to look after the accounts or different areas, and you try and do it all yourself to save money. But it's taken me sort of 2 or 3 years of trial and error that actually, it might seem like a lot to pay a lawyer 250 euros an hour for a small company, or an accountant to look after all your accounts. But the fact is, it's actually freeing up all of your time to go out and do whatever it is you do, be it sell your product or basically drive your business forward. So outsourcing, I would say, is very, very important once you sort of grow to the next stage. Being as sort of loud as you can about your product is very, very important. I mean, getting the message out there, there's thousands of startups sending in press releases and trying to get coverage all over the place. It's a very, very tricky thing to do. The way we got coverage for Look and Taste at the start is we were looking to raise money, and we were quite advanced with the sort of discussions with investors here in Ireland. And myself and Sean, the business partner, were sort of, those negotiations were sort of dragging along, and we wanted to push it forward a little bit. So we got quite creative, and we approached the Dragon's Den to go on there, went through auditions, etc., and eventually got on there. Now, we didn't really have much intention of taking money from the Dragons at that stage, but for a tiny little Irish company to be able to be in front of 5 million people in the UK really was a game changer for our business. And we raised the money, I think, 8 weeks after being on the Dragon's Den, purely as a result of the sort of press coverage and goodwill that we built up around our appearance on that program. So I guess it's just about thinking big. That was free 100% for us. We got primetime television, and it's trying to be creative in as many ways as possible. The one thing that I would say is get people in to advise you. Now, I've obviously said here that they're grey hairs, but get people who've maybe been through the mill over the last 2 or 3 years. My company, if I knew what I knew now 2 or 3 years ago, I absolutely cringe at some of the mistakes we've made. But at the time, you're so gung-ho, and you think you really do think you know it all because it's your business, and you probably make some silly mistakes. Entrepreneurs are absolutely brilliant because it's such a short time since they had absolutely nothing. So most of the people that you saw at the start there 3-4 years ago, they didn't have millions. They just had a normal 25-30 grand salary. So they are so willing to help you. If you send any entrepreneur an email, pick up the phone, call them, absolutely no problem. They will give you advice. And my advice would be to take as much of it as you possibly can. Get some advice from older people who've been through the mill, because you think you know it all, but we don't at the end of the day. The journey is one of the most important things. I was working on a different boat to the one I was on there, but it was a guy who was worth about 5 or 6 billion, and he'd built dams all over the world, and he was absolutely loaded. And I told him I was leaving the boat to possibly set up my own business. And he sat me down at the back of the boat, and I thought he was actually going to offer me some money or something to set it up, but didn't really pan out. But he said, listen, he'd made lots of money. I think he was about 81 or 82, and he was in a pretty bad way. But he said he'd made lots of money, and he said it didn't matter at all. It was really the family and the kids that really meant absolutely everything to him. Another person in a similar situation gave me the advice that you're always chasing. That's a picture where I've been in Tahiti, and I really want to get back there one day. And that's my dream. I want to sort of retire with quite a bit of money and relax there, or a big successful business. And when you get there, it's really not that perhaps spectacular or exciting. And most people who have made lots of money or been successful entrepreneurs say it's this time at the very start, when the idea is just a seed, you don't have any money to your name. This is the real exciting point. So don't always be looking into the future thinking it's going to be miraculously better once you get there. Enjoy the moment that you're in. Just a little quote there from I wouldn't really have much respect for him as a business person or anybody, and he does normally talk quite a lot of shite, but this is pretty relevant, I think. I've always found in Ireland there's a great sort of startup community with small businesses that are all very helpful, but there's certainly a lot of people out there who are going to try and maybe knock your business or take you down a peg or two, but it's just something that you need to get over and kick on from. just want to say a quick note that it's perfect timing, and it's another one of those excuses that you could use and say it's a recession, it's terrible, there's no jobs in Ireland, etc. I think it's absolutely perfect timing to go out and set up a business. Not many jobs out there, you can do it very cheap, barriers to entry have come down, and if you get it right now, by the time your business is kicking into full life in 18 months' time, the market will hopefully bounce back and you'll be ideally placed to really capitalize from it. Failure is one of the biggest lessons. That's obviously for any football fans. David Beckham just getting sent off in the World Cup, and he was vilified after that incident, and England fans hated him and burned sort of effigies of him, and basically he was cast out. But he used that as a lesson and took a long time to build back trust, but went on and is absolutely loved. And I guess the point is that the biggest lessons I've ever learned are from failures. We've spent maybe lots of money on different projects or done things that were great ideas at the time, but you really should look on failure and embrace it and say, look, that's bad, but pick yourself up and go on and kill it the next time you do it. So if that's just one bit of advice I could give you tonight, is just hopefully think big and don't sort of take no for an answer, and go and set up your own business, because it's the best thing you could ever do.